Hey guys, I'm Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to strengthen a hip muscle that I think we often forget to strengthen and we're always stretching it. So today we're going to talk about why it's also important to strengthen this muscle, and I'll teach you 2 different exercises that can accomplish this. So the muscle we're talking about today is the psoas muscle. So this is a hip flexor. So basically what that means is it lifts your hip up and down. And the psoas really is commonly tight when you're having low back issues, hip issues, or issues with the pelvis or pelvic floor. That being said, I think that we need to keep in mind that a muscle can be tight and it can be weak at the same time. And I think I've explained this in the video where I talk about your pelvic floor. But basically, so think about your bicep, because I think that's an easy muscle to look at. If the bicep was really, really tight, your elbow would be like stuck in this position because your bicep can't lengthen. If it's stuck in this position, you're not going to have as much strength in that muscle as if it could fully lengthen and move through its range. So it's important to work on both the flexibility of a muscle, but also to work on the strengthening part of a muscle. And the psoas, I think, is a muscle that a lot of times we're always stretching because it feels like it's a tight area and we never really strengthen. So how I usually go about working with a muscle that's both tight and weak, usually it's better to work on the lengthening aspect first and then work on the strengthening. But I think a lot of times what happens is we work on the lengthening and then we never get to the strengthening part. I know I'm guilty of this with my hip flexors and my psoas muscle, and I've been adding these type of exercises that I'm going to show you today into my workout routine. Because basically, if you watch my video where I talk about where I had my hip impingement issue, and I'll link that down below, I always strengthened my glutes and I was stretching a lot through my hip flexor, which really did help my hip get better. But now I can tell that I do have a muscle imbalance and that my hip flexors are weak. So to prevent issues from occurring down the line, I'm now working on strengthening of my hip flexors. When you're doing any exercise, I always go with feel what feels good for your body, because I think a lot of times like we become fearful of certain movements and we avoid it. Like we're like, okay, our psoas has always been tight and I always stretch it and we're scared to strengthen it. But if you're going through these exercises and it feels good, there's no pain, you don't feel like you're super tight after doing the exercise, then it should be relatively safe to do. And I think that's a good way to start to eliminate fear of different movements. And it's just a good mindset to have, like when you're working through your exercises, just to become in tune with what your body's actually telling you. Okay, sorry for the long intro, guys. You know, I kind of like to give you guys a little education on what we're doing so you understand the point of the exercise or the stretch or whatever I'm going to show you. So today we're doing 2 different exercises. One exercise requires no equipment. One does require a band. So it's one of those circle bands. I will link them down in the description below if you don't have them. They're pretty affordable to get on Amazon and they're pretty, useful in adding in exercises at home. Okay, so exercise 1 is called psoas circles. So you're going to lay on your back. You're going to keep one leg bent, and then the leg you're working is going to be straight out. So you want the leg to be in line with the other leg, so that's about the length that you want. From here, you're going to start to make really small circles going in one direction, and then the other. So some things to think about here. So the circles are going to be really small and controlled, and basically your psoas muscle, the hip flexor, is having to hold and stabilize and work to keep that leg there while you're doing your hip circles, okay? When you do them, you want to make sure your pelvis stays stable, okay? So that's why you want to make them small, because if you start to make them too large, then your low back and pelvis start moving around. So you really want them to be small little circles, and the hip points or the points of your pelvis are staying facing up to the ceiling and it's not rocking side to side. Okay, another thing to think about is you can really gently pull the abs in as you do these circles, and that'll help keep you more stable. Make sure you continue to breathe. You do not hold your breath while you pull the abs in, okay? Something else to help you make this exercise more effective is if you kind of know where the psoas muscle is. So it's actually located higher than you would probably think. So the muscle belly, if you think about the point between your belly button and this pointy part of your hip, if you made like a diagonal, the muscle belly is in the center. So you kind of want to feel this working and stabilizing in the lower abdomen. So if you're working the left leg, it would be the lower left abdomen. You might feel that working. You'll also probably feel it in your quad a little bit, and that's normal because part of your quad is a hip flexor. But when you're thinking about isolating the muscle contraction, you want to isolate it to the lower abdomen where the psoas is. For sets and reps for your psoas circles, go with how you feel. So if you can only do 4 or 5 circles in one direction before you're getting fatigued, then that's all you do. Try to work up to doing 10 circles in each direction and then doing maybe 2 sets of them, 3 sets of them. Again, see how you feel, what your body is ready for. But typically when I do these, I don't do more than 3 sets of this exercise. Okay, next exercise is going to be Psoas marches with a band. I think that's what we're going to call them. So you just need a circle band here, and you're probably going to want light resistance with this exercise. You're not going to want a super heavy band. Okay, so you're going to hook the band around your feet, and you're going to straighten your legs out if that's comfortable for your low back. Okay, you can do this with the knees bent. You don't work through as much range, but it's another option. So let me show you with the legs straight first. So your legs are going to be straight out. Again, you want to, when you're doing this exercise, have a gentle contraction of the abdomen. I do have a video that goes over how to contract or stabilizing abdominal muscles in detail. I'll link that down below for you guys. But basically, when you're moving your leg through this motion, to make sure you're protecting your low back, you want to pull the belly button down and in toward your spine. Okay? Again, make sure you continue to breathe. What you're going to do is you're going to keep one leg straight out, and then the other leg, so we're going to work the left leg in this position here. You're going to lift that leg up and in, and you're bringing it to about a 90-degree angle, and then it's going to come back down. So your knee bends as you come up, so it's kind of like you're marching that leg up, and then you're coming back down, trying to keep the pelvis stable again. Your low back, you don't want to like flatten and smush it into the ground, so you have a slight space in the low back, and then the abdominal contraction is what keeps the low back stable. Okay, again, you're going to feel this working in the lower abdomen, in the front of the hip. It should be no pain, just muscles working. If it's uncomfortable for you to have the legs straight out, you can have the legs bent and march in this way. It's going to be a smaller range, but it also works and it's fine. Do what you need to do. So that's the other option. 4 sets and reps for this exercise. I would work with 3 sets of the exercise, and then for the amount of reps, go with what you need to feel the muscle working. But sometimes if this is an exercise that you really haven't done, it might get fatigued quicker than you think. So we'll say go for 8 to 12 reps. So that was a really long description of sets and reps. So 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you continue learning about your body and becoming more in tune with your body so you can live your healthiest life. If you guys are not already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button right below me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.